being broadcast, and they'll also be on YouTube later in the week.
Yeah, and we're going to be starting things off with Freelancer United Nation, aka Fun, versus Team Trash. So it's a pretty tough lineup going in. Start the day off against Trash. You know, I expect them to try their very best, and who knows what could happen.
Yeah, exactly. So these are all teams who are in the top, who have an over 75% win percentage. Anybody here can take a game off of Trash and completely change some of the brackets, as well as build major hype going into the tournament. Fun's going to look to steal that first game and to really prove that they do belong in the top, because if they win just basically 2 games out of their 4 today, they're guaranteed a spot in the tournament. They'll be seen versus cookie cutters later, but if they take one off of Trash, that pretty much is a super good sign that they're going to get in the tournament. So they're going to try their best in this first game. To even one game would be great for them, and obviously a sweep would be fantastic.
Yeah, and even more than anything, just whoever is the first team to take a match off Trash is going to go down in history, because these guys are still completely undefeated in the last week of Season 2. So
yeah, for new viewers that aren't familiar with this team, and for longtime viewers that want to recap, Team Trash is our Season 1 champions that went through the entire season undefeated, and has so far gone through all 6 weeks of Season 2 undefeated, including an exhibition game against the developers. Yeah. They are on fire, although this season several teams have come within one shot.
So close.
Of taking a game off of Trash. There are starting to be cracks in this armor, and pretty soon there may be their first loss, which would, of course, bring just major hype, props to your team, a lot of attention to whoever is the first team to take that game.
I mean, until recently, Avaki had barely died, too, but it seems teams have, once they heard about that, they wanted to make sure he got punished, and have been putting a bit more effort into that, it seems.
And they're just starting to learn from them. A lot of these teams are researching these other. This is no longer a super casual, we'll just play on a Sunday. A lot of teams do play that way. That's absolutely fine if you want a competitive team and want that experience. But these top teams are teams that practice together, that watch the games of the other teams and learn from the better players and practice strategies. Oh, we saw this team do this. That's great. We're going to try it out in some practice games. Bring it to the PPL next week. It has been a fantastic season, and a lot of teams have risen to the challenge. So we're going to get these teams drafting very shortly here, so we can get you guys into this first game, see if Fun can manage to snag their own destiny right here in Game 1, in Match 1, or if they're going to have to wait for our third matchups of the day to see if they make it into the tournament. We'll see as we tell them to begin draft, and they should begin momentarily.
I'm really excited to see teams going into this. I mean, we have Orion still hasn't really had a chance to shine in this league. And with the shakeups, I'm seeing Rampart come up not only just in Preface League, but I saw him a lot in Ranked too, and he can perform if played correctly.
Yeah, he took a while to figure out, and a lot of people disparaged him at first, but he's an excellent freelancer with a good kit. It's just hard to figure out. It takes some practice for a lot of people. So it looks like right away the map is Cloudspire. These teams know each other. There's no standoffishness on those big maps at first. They're going right into the close-range battle of Cloudspire. Instantly trash their famous Helio Band as well as Lockwood. And then Gray for the first pick.
These teams are not wasting any time in this draft. It's going like that so far. And so now we're looking at Fun. Going to take away that Celeste and the Quark. So another one of the top-tier firepowers, which with Lockwood Band and Gray taken away, that number is rapidly shrinking. And taking Quark, who has risen a lot since the recent balance changes and might be considered one of the top supports. I mean, just his single target healing alone is absolutely incredible.
And one thing that teams have, especially in the second half of Season 2, really taken to is controlling the buff locations. So you're going to see a lot of Celeste, a lot of Gremolitions in this high tier. Things that can trap off or push people away from or steal these buffs away because they're so important. Your teams start out as equal. Every buff you can grab just tilts the match automatically in your favor. So these teams definitely going to be contesting them hotly. Looks like that Gremolition's being picked up from Trash, so firepower's all around. Fun could save their last firepower for last, and pick up a frontliner here to have both first pick of support and frontliner. That would be a big boon for them, although I'm sure Trash is comfortable on a lot of different strategies, and with the very generic picks such as Gray and Gremlicians, just universally good. They don't really need a specific composition to support those.
Yeah, and Fun gonna actually go for the Nyx. I agree they could have left it for later, but they're gonna secure that other firepower. So strong firepowers on both sides. Lots of potential for burst and just area control. Now we're looking at Trash's pick. I'm thinking they're gonna lead towards Asana. I know that with the balance change I mentioned recently, she rose a little bit higher than Rask even, and just in the hands of Craner or Wololo has shown themselves to be quite the force to be reckoned with.
Generically, in a vacuum, I agree. Asana would be a great pick. I would not be surprised to see a Rask in this matchup as well, especially with the Finn pickup. Rask is so good with the Finn support of the bubble, of the unstoppable, combined with the extra CC of the throw with Gremlicians. It just extra abuses the Gray Wall and the mines. Whereas with Asana, you root people in place, they're not going to hit the Gray Wall. They're not going to hit the mines. So it rises Rask stock a little bit. It will be interesting to see which one they do indeed pick. Trash has that second pick right now and are basically hotly contesting.
Yeah, and they're going to pick up that Finn Rask, just like you mentioned. So, going for a really solid comp. I mean, this is something these are all characters we know Trash is comfortable on. This is all characters everybody should be comfortable on at this point. So it's going to really come down to what Fun can do to counter this. You know, they have that Nyx, they have that Gray. That's a lot of burst, and that's what you need to take down a Rask. If those two really focus on it, they might be able to burn through his health pool, his sustain, and what Finn brings to the table. And they're going to bring things out not with Asana, but with Titus.
Well, Titus has that big AoE weaken that may come in strong for them here, especially on crucial turns when they can dive into the enemy team. Being such a small map, he can often catch multiple people. And of course, Pepper, as you know, he can dash pretty much clear across it.
Oh, I know.
Escape or engage. What is interesting is that Freelancer United Nation have basically picked up almost no crowd control and pretty much no Freelancer with a natural resistance to crowd control, whereas Trash have gone pretty heavy on the movement effects and has an unstoppable as well, although they probably might not need this mod round. You've got to expect that maybe Fun might reduce the power of their catalyst to maybe bring an adrenaline on Nyx or something that can prevent some of these characters from being trapped. Now, they do have the only support with a dash, which is in their favor there, but they have to be careful not to get that Cork separated and not to get the Nyx picked off.
Yeah, it's going to be very important, especially, I mean, if Rask can get on that Nyx's tail, he's going to just have a bad time indeed. Like, as you mentioned, with a real lack of hard CC, they have a couple slows, you know, Nyx and Titus offering their own slows, but besides that, unless you're running root trap on Celeste, which I think is not worth it, then it's going to be pretty tough to get away.
Absolutely. These teams, they've got their work cut out for them. Of course, top-tier drafts for both teams.
Oh, yeah.
I do slightly favor Trash's composition, I have to. And with Trash being the favorites, we'll see how this turns out for the Fun team. They're going to have to bring their A-game on this one.
Yeah, I know Legion is a big fan of Titus, and I've seen him make him work real well, so I'm confident in his ability on that character. But just going up against Trash on all these characters they're so comfortable with, I think I'm leaning a little bit more to the other side as well. And I think they have characters that better take advantage of Cloudspire as well.
Yeah. Trash has not been quiet about their picks. They've been very vocal. These are our comfort picks, and if you force them off of them, these are what we're going to pick. We know our Freelancer pool. We can play everything at a high level. So you know, unless you push them off of it, they're going to have that Gray in there. They're going to have these certain Freelancers that are just super strong, and you need to have a plan to deal with that. It makes them predictable, but if they can't be beat with it, then you need to change them off of it.
And here we go. Going into this final week, Trash showing off a little bit with running all those tournament champion titles, looking a bit like Power Rangers over on their side of things.
Indeed. They look pretty strong here. A strong showing, of course. The
yeah.
Fun showing some team spirit as well. So we're going to get straight into this first game, see how it goes. We've got Fun as our blue team. That's going to be a Nefty, Dizzy, Legion, and Kochi. And on the red side, we're going to have Team Trash, Wololo, Avaki, Craner, and Sofio. They're going to get right in to determine who makes a higher seed and who gets in to our final tournament worth $2,500 in prize money.
Yeah, we see Trash doing what Trash does, this usual stick together, someone off to scout a little bit. Surprisingly, sending no one even close to the middle. I guess they realize against Celeste there's really no point in going for those might buffs. And what I'm worried about right now is Kochi being the scout for Fun, and potentially getting caught out by this really aggressive Rask movement that we see coming out.
Yeah, Kochi does indeed go stealth, so will be invisible, but the scouting mix is such a all-or-nothing move. If you get caught out, you are dead. But with the stealth movement, if they can't manage to find you, you have a strong vision advantage early in the game. So we'll see if they can make the best out of it, as it looks like a Grey Drone goes out. The might buffs, of course, picked up by Dizzy, good energy, and might. And now Kochi has some great vision.
Kochi has to be so careful on his movement this upcoming turn. If he moves into that back brush where Avaki is, it's likely to be popped. He's going to be in big trouble. Same thing with that forward brush if he moves to the same one. So I'm be looking real carefully where he moves here. And we see the only person in sight for Trash is actually Legion, so he's likely to take the brunt of the damage. But that's pretty much what they want at this point.
Go to sleep.
Gray's going to find Legion with a dart. That will give them some much.
Where do you think you're going?
Of course, comes back with his dagger, revealing Cranor, and hopefully adding some damage next turn. Kochi takes a shot on this Seville for some damage, as they are trying to scout out the stealth Nyx. Did not get the correct locations, but have formed a wall of mines to help protect themselves. The Grey Drone starts ticking away, combined with Cranor's basic attack. Legion already taken some good damage, considering they haven't really engaged yet. No more than Sephila's taken, but now Kochi.
Oh, there it is. Just like I mentioned, if he moves into that brush that Avaku's in, he's going to be in a bad spot. Definitely going to be a big old target for those three members of Trash. Meanwhile, Wolo running right in as Ras does, and Legion not hidden like he was trying to be with that Celeste smoke bomb. Definitely in vision, as well as rather accurate last known on Korg. Not quite, but enough to give him a good idea. So Wolo's going to start disrupting his backline, while Kochi likely to get punished.
Wolo's in a good spot to apply pressure and separate the rest of the team, so they cannot support Kochi as heals come down from a Nefty. The dash in from Legion will pop the dagger on Cranor, the bubble providing a little bit of relief. Kochi's going to get a double shot on Avaki and Safil combined with the bubble. They're doing good damage in this backline. Wololo not able to hit anybody thanks to the dash away from Legion. Avaki, though, here it starts. The movement effects to just leave the sniper out in the middle of the map alone and vulnerable.
Yeah, he's definitely got to be thinking about using that catalyst or taking an early death at this point. Now we see Legion did rush in, but not quite close enough to start having an effect. Craner kind of left in the dust. They have an inaccurate last known, but still an experienced player like Wolo can make a good assumption on where people are. And we're definitely looking at Kochi, just all the support, all the damage being thrown on this one character in turn 5.
As mentioned, a strong all-or-nothing strategy, and looks like it is some good damage, but definitely taking some hits. Wololo triggering the trap, nicely placed by Dizzy. Avaki's going to find double mines, basically for a lot of turns coming up, as Cranor takes a direct shot at Kochi. Kochi returns with direct damage, but Cranor's health still very high thanks to that bubble last turn. Of course, Dizzy stealing the health out from the middle of Trash and doing even more damage to Cranor. That's going to be their focus for this turn.
Yeah, and Craner moving on to that health that was sadly stolen away. Very smart move by Dizzy, and also applying damage at the same turn as well. I really like that. Kochi still has now found himself behind his team at last, but Wolo has caught up to the fight and is ready to dive that backline as Ras does. And we see Legion trying to find anybody not quite close enough to really do anything besides maybe hit Wolo, except for the dash, while Avaki, Safil, and Craner are definitely trying to back off from this aggression.
Korg is doing his best to heal back up Kochi. He might not go down this turn. Legion will weaken the back line, and Wolo here, the front liner, trying to get into the back, so he will not be doing as much damage as he possibly could this turn. The wall trying to prevent the dash, or at least do damage. He does indeed do some damage to Wololo as he dives over Kochi. Gremoleshin's putting mines on 2 people as Safil starts that eel bouncing around. That's going to do major damage with how grouped up Team Fun is. Dizzy not able to find a target to hit as Crano jumps out, having taken too much damage the previous turn, wants to keep their health relatively high. The trap finds another piece of damage on Gremlicians Incorporated, as they have been replaced by a bot at this time who is going to be
this
very
looks like
aggressive.
Bots, as we know, can be a bit aggressive. Hopefully he can reconnect soon and Trash can adapt to this strategy. We do see Wall already just start applying a ton of pressure to Kochi. Just not going to let this Nyx make up for that aggressive move he made last turn. While Craner just completely disengaged from the fight, likely looking to heal up before he can go in and help his team.
Turtle Tex coming out from Grembo and Wololo, both probably taking some damage this turn. Gremolition's going to dash in as Legion flies directly over to Sophia, applying pressure right onto that support. Sophia will still find the double hit. Gremolitions, of course, with the dash damage, and the Mines puts a good bit on Inepti. Dizzy not able to predict this, will just throw out some vision blocking abilities. Wololo going to find more damage, but Kochi is popping away health now and managing to stay around 30 health for the last several turns, thanks to his team and his self-healing.
He's staying around 30 health, but he's not really able to have much of an impact in return. You know, already popping 2 of his 3 catalysts, while Wololo is just pretty happy to stay on his tail as long as he possibly can. We now see Craner not quite close enough to get some shots in, but likely his drone off cooldown going to be able to start affecting the fight once again. And I gotta say, if I don't blame Fun if they decide to focus on this Gremolitions Inc. bot.
You have to do what you can to win. Again, the game goes on if you disconnect anytime after the initial load-in. Those are the rules for this, so you have to make use of every win when your tournament future is on the line. Legion gonna throw that dart out, hitting Gremolitions, but Gremolitions with this healing and this shield is not likely to go down anytime quick, even with the damage from a Nefty. They are going to indeed focus and bring him way back down to 40 health. Kochi going to continue to fight Wololo, but just building his energy as he's still above half health. Kochi taking even more damage, and a nice drone by Cranor will find multiple targets.
So Kochi goes in Viz. They don't know where he is. They do know he was slowed that previous turn, but now we're seeing the ults coming up at turn 9. It's Sophia, Dizzy, Gremolitions Inc., and Kochi all sitting on ults. That's a big chunks of burst damage that can swing this fight around. But we see Craner doing a really good job once he was out of the fight of trying to sneak back in, not playing too aggressive, but he could start to get punished now as this invisible Gremo and Dizzy sitting there with ultimates, and they have their eyes on him.
We'll see who uses their ultimate this turn, who chooses to save it. Sophia's just healing, trying to keep these Gremolitions alive, as well as undo the damage done to their support himself. Inepti pumps out a little bit of healing as Cranor throws that dart. Looks like Inepti's jumping straight in over a mine to do damage to Gremolitions, who is healing up. Wololo gets the hit straight on Dizzy, doesn't find Kochi as Legion takes a swing and a miss out into nowhere. Gremolitions ultimate coming. All of them on Legion doing good damage, but not finding Inepti, who had dashed away. Cranor also targeting the same group. Dizzy will find a double hit with their basic for big damage. However, it is Kochi who comes back with the first kill of the game using their ultimate as well.
I gotta say, Wola was not the person I expected to go down first. That's that burst damage I mentioned early on with those picks. That's what you need to kill Rask. Just so much coming out from Dizzy and Craner or Kochi there, just delete Rask from the playing field. Now we see Sophia just desperately been trying to keep this poor Gremo bot alive, but his time might finally be up, tethered to this Cork. But we see Craner now caught in kind of an awkward spot, cut down to half health with no dash available.
He might have to use a catalyst, and indeed he does. Craner dashes over the wall, trying to stay safe for this turn. Certain he'd be the focus. He was indeed, as Legion and Dizzy and Kochi all take shots. Wasted 3 attacks for the enemy team. That's what you want to see from a catalyst. Inepti will pump that final bit of damage into Gremolitions. Sophia has nothing to keep them alive, but Gremolitions will do the knockback as Sophia also does his Whirlpool to keep Dizzy and Legion together and at very low health. So it looks like that Inepti, though, will heal them right back up. Legion will be able to dash out of the way. There won't be a lot of issue there. Their team should survive pretty well from this turn, and it's a 2-0 lead for Fun. Trash still yet to find a kill against the Fun team.
So we see Inepti's all coming out. Going to be a big chunk of healing and guaranteeing that mic. Legion not quite finding Craner with the dash, trying to throw himself off, find this escaped Gray. Well, We also see missed shot coming to the field, but a big trap, mighted 38 damage, and a bomb on top of it, just cutting him down to pieces. Koshi, meanwhile, finds a shot on Craner, cutting him down to just 13. What was the return shot? Does get some nice damage, but on the target right next to Cork, it doesn't really feel worth it. Now we see Wolo has returned. Yeah, Craner out of escapes, right next to this Titus with ultimate, right next to Kochi, likely to go down here. Wolo rushes back in to find Dizzy, but might be too little too late as they do have their dash up, and we see Safil just trying to survive, backed off completely. This is not looking good, as it seems we're having some issues. Avaki not even getting the reconnect option at the moment.
That is unfortunate, and Nepti will start the healing instead of damage, trusting his team to finish this off. Weaken going down on Cranor as well, so you won't even be able to put down the return damage they want. Dizzy escaping from the middle, so they won't take much. Cranor decides to focus the support of the other team, a Nepti. They will be revealed and take some damage, but with direct damage from Kochi and Legion, that's going to be yet another death, this time on Cranor. Wololo will throw a Nepti, but you have to think Legion's still going to be in range. Wololo has a great position, but down 3 kills. Can they bring this back?
It's looking worse and worse as time goes on. As we see Safil finally in position to start supporting again, and Wolo might have this chance to do the damage he's been trying to this entire time. They've just been really shutting down what Trash is trying to do, with this bot being a really unfortunate handicap against them.
And such a strong start, too. They were able to negate a lot of Wololo. Safil does manage to find Gremolition, so they're going to try to keep this bot alive at all costs. Wololo finally able to apply 3-person damage to the other team, although a Nipti actually dashes out of it. So even though Reveal goes to a stealth square, they'll know exactly where he is thanks to that bubble and the Reveal. Gremolitions finding damage on Legion and a mine that might hit Kochi, but the big ultimate from Wololo hitting 2 people on the enemy team. Legion, of course, going to use their ultimate as well, dealing damage to both Gremo and Wololo, bringing them right back down despite recently spawning with high health.
And the bot, because of that slow, moves into an absolutely just in the open spot, no cover, no anything. Though we do see Inepti is out of escapes, no catalyst, no dash for a couple turns. They might be able to pick up a kill here as we move into turn 14 with it 3-0 in Fun's favor. We have Craner getting to able to respawn in the coming turn, hopefully able to have an impact, maybe get some swings to turn this around.
Stealth coming out from Kochi. Kochi impressively has not died yet despite that early focus. Able to stay alive all this time. A little bit of healing coming out. Will that be enough? As Inepti and Legion both very low, but still able to stay alive. Legion's going to dash away as Wololo dashes towards them. They aren't able to find the damage on Legion they want here. Gremolition's still pounding away at Inepti, but with 1 health left, Inepti manages to survive, and Dizzy and Kochi focus down Gremolition's bot, bringing them very low again, although dash is available.
The Gremolition's bot does have his dash. Still, Safil just trying his best to keep him alive, really doing a lot of work. Kochi just has completely disengaged from the fight and started to heal up because they just couldn't focus on him anymore. They had to worry about their own lives instead. We see Craner in a pretty good spot on his spawn, and Wall as well, just staring down Legion. They got some targets at low health. They might be able to pick up a couple kills.
Yeah, this is still anybody's game as there are multiple low health members for this Fun team, although the damage being done to Inepti with the dash and Gremolitions hopefully avoiding the death this turn. We'll see exactly what Legion chose to do. Craner is going to throw the drone over in that corner to try and continue to do damage to Legion now that their dash is down. A wise trap by Dizzy predicts Safil's movement together with the smoke bombs. That's going to bring Safil extremely low, even though they find a 2-person hit to help finish off Quark. The throw keeps Legion within the Grey Drone, and you have to think Legion's dead unless he uses his dash catalyst this turn.
The thing I'm looking at is
even then.
Dizzy now staying on that ultimate. I don't know if Trash even realizes Safil could definitely go down if they're not careful about this. Well, we see Gremolitions Inc. definitely focusing Legion, and Kochi's picked up a health buff on the other side of the map. He's fine. He loves this. He's completely out of the fight, no longer being chased by Wolo like he was before.
Looks like the Weaken going down on Dizzy, as well as a dash by Safil. They definitely thought this ult would happen. Direct shots Dizzy tries for the kill, not able to get it. Does get a little bit of damage on Cranor thanks to that might. It will go back to 40. Gremolition's not able to find the damage on Legion, who did dash away with his Catalyst, but now has 2 turns before he has another escape and is sitting on 16 health.
Yeah, very low. Definitely lethal. But now we see, once again, Koji has returned to the fight. Is finding himself a little exposed, but sitting on that ultimate, it's not really the worst place to be. With only 3 turns remaining, Trash needs to somehow keep themselves alive and pick up 2 more kills to push things into overtime.
Sophia's going to Catalyst to just try and survive this turn, although sitting next to Dizzy and with Kochi having ultimate looks very unlikely. Gremolition and Wololo both getting out of the way of this almost certain Nyx ultimate. The splash damage from Sophia able to bring Dizzy low. Cranor trying to find the kill on Legion. We'll see where their movement takes them this turn.
No one is safe.
Here's the gigantic Nyx ultimate, hitting 2 people from the enemy team, Sophia and Cranor, although no deaths yet. Dizzy manages to steal the kill for a 4-1 lead. The next time a member of Trash goes down, including Gremobots, this is over.
It's over then, and it's over if Trash can't find 3 kills now in the remaining 2 turns. That doesn't look particularly likely. Legion is sitting low, but I don't know if anyone's even going to be able to hit him with the way Gremolition's bot's playing. And Cranor, sitting at 32 health, staring down Dizzy, has got to be more worried about their own life than ending his.
Kochi's going to throw out a trap, trying to prevent any chase that the opposing team might do with replicating ammo that will hit through it. Cranor's going to dash out, but dashes directly into where Celeste put the trap. That's not going to bode well for Cranor in this following turn. Wololol is just starting to heal up. Gremolition's Explore in case of chasing, as well as some direct damage on the 2 highest health members of the enemy team, trying to weaken them up for the future. Legion knows exactly where this dash went to and takes a swing on Gremolitions without dying himself just yet. Only Wololol hit by the replicating trap, but now Cranor in trouble.
That heal mod coming through for Legion, keeping him alive, and more importantly, keeping him just alive enough to maybe finish off Cranor here for the win. We see Dizzy now also back here. Cranor sitting in that trap, and Gremolition's just sitting so low. It's just a really unfortunate reason for Trash to go down like this, but I don't see them making a comeback in these next final 2 turns.
Fun has played super strong since the start, and with the disadvantage of the bot, that you're just not going to beat a high-tier team like this. As Gremolitions starts firing off this ultimate, that's going to do some damage to Dizzy. Unfortunately, the trap alone brings down Cranor, and Kochi and Inepti focusing down Gremolitions. That will bring a double kill on this final turn. An unfortunate way to lose, but Trash does go down in their first loss to Team Fun. Freelancer United Nation played an excellent game there, and we cannot downplay how well they played. They played super aggressive early and avoided a lot of damage from Wololol. They were able to keep this Nyx alive with only Wololol focusing him. Just constant shields, healing, just everything they needed to keep him at exactly 30-some-odd health. And early game, they put on so much pressure. Now, that's normally when Trash comes back from it with some very smart play and just conserving their resources. But the Gremobot was not conducive to that. And they ended up falling apart to that in a 6-1 loss to Fun.
Yeah, I'm honestly having a hard time being hyped for the way this match went out. I mean, Fun did play very well. You're certainly right. It's just a really unfortunate way for it to go for Trash. And I guess if we're gonna do an MVP, gonna be looking at Kochi with his big swing ults. He had 2 of them hitting 2 people and allowed them to get that early kill on Wolol to really push things in their favors once the bot entered the fray and they started being able to regroup themselves.
Kochi had that step into the bush that really revealed them early on, but was able to survive. And with Inepti's help, with some help from their team, the rest of the team applied pressure. But you're absolutely right. Kochi provided consistent damage, stayed alive, and really lined up these ultimates for just a big impact on this game. So, Kochi, congrats for game 1. You're going to be our MVP.
Yeah, and that's going to be moving into Game 2. Hopefully we don't follow the same problems. Avaki can get back into the lobby, and we won't have anything like that once again. So Game 2, Trash, that's got to be a hit on their morale, but, they know that they can still come back from this, and regardless, they're still secured in the tournament.
Yeah, Trash will be in the tournament, and if they win a single game today, they're still going to be first seed. Just no longer with the undefeated tag. Now, maybe that takes some pressure off their backs. and we know that they can play a strong game regardless of if their morale is high or low. But Fun has shown that, bot or no, they're here to play, and Trash needs to really play at the top of their game as they're always doing with all their members, because if they take it easy at all, or if they have any disadvantage of bot, then Fun is going to come right up and over them. I mean, in a strong victory. So definitely looking forward to a strong match too. We'll see if Trash can get all their members back for this next game.
Yeah, and here we go. We got seeing another game pop up, getting ready to go into game 2. I'm wondering, I mean, both teams drafted super well. I'm not expecting to see a lot of changes there. This will most likely be Flyway Freighter. I mean, it's Trash as the home team. I don't think they're going to suddenly change up their picks now of all times.
They favor that long-range damage, a slow, methodical game. Flyway plays right into that. They can keep the enemy team at range, play to their strengths of staying in cover, dealing damage, controlling buffs. Absolutely, I would expect Flyway if for them to pick this one up. We'll see if we can't get some spectator slots in this game in just a second.
They don't want us.
All right. We'll remind the players, of course. And if you guys ever want to check out the rules, if you're new to PPL, then check out prepphase.com. It'll show you guys all the rules about how the drafting goes, how the games are created, and all the rules of the league, so you guys can follow along at home with the picks, bans, drafting, home, away team, all that fun. And make sure you know exactly what's going on in these teams. Basically, ranked has pretty much the exact same structure.
Yeah, so we're seeing, just waiting for him to make some spectator slots for us. Come on, fellas.
Yep.
Maybe they're blaming us. Maybe it's our fault.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, there is stress testing this weekend. It is still open beta. The game hasn't released yet. It does release on the 4th for anybody looking to buy it now. It is slightly cheaper, and of course, there still will be a free trial mode, although it will be limited compared to the full mode. So if you guys are watching thinking this is a fun game and you really want to play it competitively, you're going to want the full game. So make sure that to have that up and ready for you. It looks like the spectate slots are up and available. We're going to hop right in.
All right.
Ready to rock.
So everyone's here. We can let them know we're ready for draft as soon as they are. As we get into game 2 of Trash versus Fun. Fun taking game 1, a DC sort of snowballing to their lead, but a very well-played game nonetheless, as Trash still at the top, ready to go to game 2, and likely going to be on a warpath here to show that they are still number 1.
Yeah, as strong as Fun played, that has to be, as you mentioned, it's just not the way you want to see Trash's first loss.
Yep.
And they are, I'm sure they're looking to provide a dominating win here if they can, to try and prove that that was a fluke and we're still number 1. Let's see if it goes that way, or if we're going to get, with both teams fully here and available, a solid and even matchup that might go several very close at the end. Definitely can go either way. Looks like Team Trash is readied up. As soon as Fun is ready, this draft will begin.
Now look at home team choosing the map. That's going to be Trash this time around. I'm like I said, it's likely Flyway. I mean, Trash can play well on any map, and yep, there it is.
So that is Flyway Freighter being selected. Now we're back to the Freelancer picks. They're so comfortable on this next pick, this gray pick, that they're going to let the other team pick up strong Freelancers pretty early on. They might let that Celeste through. They'll let them have the front liner of choice. They want these solid firepowers usually. We'll see, though, Fun highly valuing Quark for the single target healing, though, because they know Trash is so focused on single targets. And they're actually going to choose Celeste as well. Again, big fans of buff control on the Trash team, so they're going to choose that over the Nyx. They will allow Freelancer United Nation that Nyx that worked out so well for them last game.
Yeah, I guess
they plan for that.
I mean, I think their plan for that is not have a bot, as we see. I mean, Celeste and Gray, such powerful firepowers. I mean, the buff control, the vision control, they provide so much utility. I think that's probably the reason they let the Nyx through, is that they're not looking at just damage, they're looking at everything else those two firepowers provide, while also picking up that harass. This is a very strong draft for Trash. Very, very sure they're going to be able to use this to play. I think they're going to be a bit more aggressive than usual as well. They want to, if I was them, I'd want to be like, hey, remember who we are, and just get right up in there and try and tear them up as fast as possible with fun. Showing Legion does love that tight. It's just going to ignore Asana, ignore the other frontliners, and just pick up his boy.
And that Raz pick shows how highly they really value him, because they could have support there, even though it would leave the other team open to pick the first frontliner, and bluff the 3 firepower team, simply because if you're going to have a 3 firepower team, you need vision control. Exactly what Gray and Celeste do. They're set up for it. They could make the other team hedge their bets to try and deal with that 3 firepower if they thought that was a possibility, but Trash, valuing that frontliner that they love, Rask, is going to go for that. Fun now with their final pick of firepower, debating who to pick. The top ones on this map, the really favored ones, are all picked. So you could go with a Zuki here, you could go with a Blackburn. They end up going with the Blackburn. A lot of people don't favor the Blackburn, and I know I'm pretty sure Titus, you're one of them.
No, I don't. I like Blackburn. I don't like Blackburn on Flyway.
Right now,
especially Remolitions was still on the table as well. So,
I'm sure Fun is looking at this and saying Trash often gets away at low health, and a map-wide ultimate is not to be discarded, even though Gremlins has the advantage with over walls, a little bit more regular range, and of course that dash. Blackburn doesn't have as many walls to stick to on this map. They may just be looking for that finishing power if somebody does get out of line of sight.
That finishing power?
As Finn is picked up on the other team, Trash does select Finn as their final freelancer. They're very confident in their play when they have their correct picks and their full team there, so they're going to go, again, straight down the line of their favorites, this time able to pick up Celeste.
Now, this is a pretty scary team to be going up against Trash's hand. And yes, Blackburn does have the map-wide ultimate, but he has shorter than usual range, and most importantly, his dash is very easy to punish. I mean, it usually only gets you out of the fight for one turn, maybe, and after that, they're just going to get hunted down with such a long cooldown, and just the way it performs, that could be a target for the punish. Both these front firepowers don't have much in the way of disengage, really. So we're going to be looking at Craner likely to focus one of those two downs. We do see Wolol taking Celeste into his hands, as we know that is where he is comfortable. That is where he can really shine. And my question is how almost want to try and count how many power-ups Fun actually gets to grab.
I mean, on Flyway with Celeste, Trash famous for basically clearing the map of power-ups in their wake. Trash has been through when there's just 0 counters on all the power-ups at the same turn.
Yeah.
4, 3.
Looks like they will get ready after selecting their final mods on Catalyst, and we'll get into this game pretty shortly.
Yeah, as we move into Game 2 of Fun versus Trash, in the final week of the Prep Phase League, before we move into the Championship Tournament on the 8th and 9th, correct? Or is it 7th and 8th?
Correct. That is not next week. We do have a week off for these teams to prepare. And then on the 8th and the 9th, that will be our final tournament. Again, a $2,500 prize pool that these teams are all competed for. Places 1 to 4 are paid out. So only 2 teams not making it in the money. This will be some intense battles day 1, and then, of course, day 2 for those top prizes. As we load back in and we see Fun as the blue team, we've got Trash on the red team. Fun did take game 1. And Trash is looking to come back strong in Game 2.
Yeah, likely to see the usual openings of sending one person off to scout where the rest of the team stays group, popularized by Trash and sort of adopted by, it seems, most teams in the league. As we see that is the case. Kochi once again doing a scouting thing. He did get caught out last time, but he didn't quite get punished like he might have been able to otherwise. We see Avaki, I mean, when you have Gray, you don't really have to send someone nearly as far out to scout, since she can just toss that drone, likely running infrared enhancement, so they're going to be hitting those bushes. Nowhere you can hide from Rio in this case. And they're just going to try and be the first ones to pick out a target and burn them down.
Your eyes playing tricks on you.
Kochi again going with this aggressive scout, and they stealth immediately. You have to imagine they'll be running the enemy team. Nefty starting up the healing on Dizzy right away, since Legion has a higher health pool, can always be switched to if they start taking damage, but Dizzy closer might be droned. Indeed, was closer to being droned. They do take a wide berth around the side, so will not be targeted this turn.
Yeah, we see Trash sort of spreading out a lot. I mean, Avaki separated for his team, but is safely in a brush. Wolo in a brush. In fact, the only one coach you can see is Safil. Poor old Safil. Got to start taking those shots to the back of the head while Craner continues his full moving around the map to try and just find a target, try and find that backline and get in there and punish him.
And this is the turn when you know Nyx is going to be revealed basically in the next phase, so you'll definitely want to make sure these bushes might start to be revealed. It does look like Avaki tries to a shot, Kochi finds Safil, but really Trash has spread out super far and may not be able to provide the focus that they want. Kochi way in the backline will not be a target.
It's nice. I mean, Kochi is way in the backline, but he doesn't actually have vision of Avaki, despite that being an absolutely no cover shot. So he's safe from him for now. Wolo likely to be a focus right now. He's the squishiest target Fun can see. Well, Craner has found himself some characters to start being mean to, and likely that's his plan.
Well, Safil sees Wololo is out in the open, so cover. That may not be a lot of damage coming in, although Adrenaline Stim will ignore cover this turn, so Dizzy will do a lot of damage to whoever his target of choice is. Combined with Legion's Dagger, that's going to basically negate any cover. An excellent predict by Avaki does manage to find Kochi. That's going to be a big negative for the Stealth Champion. But Dizzy and Legion together ignore cover, and even through the bubble take Wololo well under half health. The mighted smoke bombs, just no exchange for that. Barely scratching Dizzy.
He's one under half health. I don't think that's well, and now he's back at half health. So, but still, that is a lot of damage. We now see Avaki has made his way behind the enemy team. They don't know where he is. They have an accurate last known, though, but he is in position to start throwing out this drone, start getting some vision. Well, Craner might have found himself. Yeah, he has an accurate last known on Cork. He might have found himself a nice juicy target to wail on and prevent the support coming to the rest of Fun.
Safil once again doing his best with single target healing. And you have to think maybe Finn, not always the greatest target for that, but that will keep Wololo alive together with the dash here as Wololo tries to get out of the middle of the map. Avaki finding an excellent drone. That'll hit 3 members of the enemy team. Dizzy, of course, able to respond with that grenade to completely ignore cover as Inepti in the backs isolated, but finds Craner and will tether to him, pumping damage in every turn. Legion will not find a hit. Craner knows that tether's coming, throws Cork out of the way, and Cork completely out of the fight this turn.
Yes, I expected him to follow up on that Cork and focus him, but it seems like Craner is instead, well, Cork's out of the way, let's beat up on the squishies in the backline. So now Inepti going to almost certainly be forced to take an entire turn to re-engage. Well, meanwhile, Avaki and Craner have gotten a pincer around these two firepows. Meanwhile, Wololo getting nice and healed up by Finn and just really disengaged from the fight and likely going to start picking up these buffs and be a-okay.
Legion was thinking to apply pressure to the low health targets, but is completely isolated, and they're actually pretty high health again. Legion will dash past Wololo. That indicator probably telling him he would hit, but unfortunately not able to. Avaki and the drone together completely remove the shields off of Kochi. Kochi responds with just a little bit of cover damage, as does Dizzy, but Avaki definitely not taking the damage they were before. And Craner responding with a massive swipe against both firepowers from the enemy team.
A massive swipe using that slow mod, that's just like old school Rask back in the day. He's going to be constantly applying a slow with every basic attack on that inner ring. Really a problem for a character like Nyx who has no built-in escape. But we see Avaki realize he's going to take a bunch of damage there, backs off, gets near Safil for some support, and Wolo, who they had punished so hard, is now just kind of been doing that Wolo on Celeste thing and picking up every single power-up that he possibly can. And he's now sitting almost back at full health.
You're not super worried about the damage coming out of Legion right now, and when Legion can rejoin the fight faster, Craner's going to dash out of the way, making sure that they don't take too much damage without the support of their team close by. Wolo finding a little bit of damage and buffs in the corner. Dizzy trying to find Avaki will not find any damage. Neither will Kochi, blind guessing around the corners as Avaki and Safil find their way back into the battle.
Yeah, Legion and really just chasing down Wolo, but I don't know if just Titus is enough to really punish this Celeste. He's probably pretty happy to just beat up Legion on his own and punish him for the chase. We see Craner has found Kochi and Inepti and is going to fight this backline. Well, Dizzy mentioned, that dash is down. That's 5 turns unless he Catalyst. That Trash can just wail on that Blackburn over there.
Well, it looks like Kochi's actually doing a makeshift fade using stealth, wasting the haste on it to use that catalyst. That means that they will not know where he goes this turn. Of course, the tether will point to the last known indicator. Legion caught in a trap, doing some damage to Wolol, but taking even more in return. Avaki and Dizzy trading damage. About equal in that fight. We'll see if anybody else can come help. Anepti finally gets a tether on Craner and will pump damage in, but Safil combined with Craner returns even more than they got, and will now throw that ultimate out as they run next to and accidentally find Kochi.
I don't even know if it's accidentally. I mean, Trash knows where people are going to want a Catalyst. We've seen before they're really good at these predictions. It might have been intentional, or he just wants that heal and he's moving towards it anyway. Now we see Anepti and Kochi right next to this Rat sitting on ultimate at turn 9. Avaki sitting on his ult as well, and him and Dizzy just sort of having this little firepower duel while Legion continues to try and do his best to punish Wolol, who, well, he just pounds away at him.
Over the Radiate from Anepti will throw a lot of dagger to see if they can't get damage anyways. Wolol's going to steal the buff out from everybody, start that healing up, and really win this trade if Legion wants to continue the 1v1. Avaki's going to cut off Dizzy from the rest of the team, and Dizzy's going to be caught alone in the corner if Avaki disengages from that. Cranor finds his ultimate on 2 people on the enemy team with a full reset and a double swing, just punishing these 2 squishier characters on the team. Combined with Safil's predict, they're going to bring Kochi down to just 17, and he won't find the healing that he wanted. He's going to be visible this turn as well.
A bunch of clashes happening there, kind of giving him an idea where people are. But Kochi now perfectly visible, still in that Quark tether, but I don't know if that's enough at this point. Sitting at only 18 plus the 15 from Second Wind and some healing from Quark, they might be able to burn through it. Wool now sitting on that ultimate and might decide to use it as it is turn 10. It's the time to do so. And we did see Dizzy caught by that Grey ult, getting Avaki the chance to just sort of run away and try and maybe catch up to Safil for some healing.
Predicting that Wolol will be a target this turn. They do healing and shielding. I don't know if they're going to take that much damage. We'll see, as Wolol is weakened by Legion. Kochi going to try and cut off the enemy team with, I believe, still replicating ammo. Indeed, as they dive directly on top of Kochi. Anepti actually did dash to Wolol, combined with the sword swing from Legion that will be enough to take down both shields. So very wise shielding from Team Trash. Avaki's going to come in with damage over the top with the drone. Just combine a little bit onto that with the slows from the bubble. Wolol finding damage on Legion. Weakened damage will be barely greater than a basic attack.
Let's just, for a moment there, Wolol had almost every buff and debuff known to man. He did steal away Legion's might there, and he does have his sash available. He can get out of dodge. Avaki, unfortunately, wasting his turtle tech that previous turn. That's almost like taking 30 extra damage. We see Kochi still being chased down by Craner. He knows his catalyst is down. This is more like what Craner wants. Well, Safil not quite in position to start healing people, but does have it available in the coming turn for the support if needed.
Dizzy mighty signaling that this might be an ult. Him. Anepti's going to shield in the middle, possibly ulting as well. Indeed it is. That's going to bring Legion's health very high as well as energize them. They'll already have ultimate, of course. Wolol dashes away as Avaki actually catalysts out of this one. I don't know how Kochi's still alive, but managing to stay 30 health mark. Again, Safil's going to start the eel bouncing in the middle, knowing Anepti wants to stay in that. Wololol gets caught out with Dizzy's ultimate, but Legion finds Wololol as well. Wololol taking so much damage for a turn they dash. They do throw Kochi in the corner. They know exactly where he is, but he again has an ultimate lined up on multiple people on the enemy team.
Yeah, well, pretty much dead to rights if he decides to stick around here. We see Legion does catch up, is kind of low, and is separated from the support, but it might not be enough, and Dizzy definitely knows where Avaki is, and despite being right next to Safil, that's got to be a juicier target than the support, who's at full health. And this is, I mean, Trash looking on their back footing right now is they can't seem to quite lock down a single target, and everyone just keeps slipping away.
Legion is going to shield up for this turn as Craner starts his healing. Safil throws a little bit of healing on Avaki to eat. But they know we're the only stealth bush they can make it to this turn. Legion takes a swipe, will miss. Kochi just finding a little bit of damage. Anepti trying to predict the dash, doesn't find the damage, so yeah, they basically know where Wolol is. Dizzy and Avaki again trading damage, although Avaki getting cover. Cranor does find that kill on the Nyx with no escapes left. and Trash is the one to actually find the first kill this game.
Yeah, I mean, Kochi kind of smart there to hold his ult so he doesn't waste it on just Craner, but at the same time, now that he's going to be respawning turn 15 before he can actually do something, likely to be his only ult of the game, has to be way more careful of it, not going to get 2 to do that big swing damage. Wolo now sitting really low, and Dizzy also kind of on the back footing. I mean, Avaki's been forced to really retreat now, but Seth is doing a great job of barely taking any damage and just being in the right position to heal people up when they really need it.
So Nefty trying to support Legion will start that healing again on the front liner, meaning he will win 1v1 Graynor, because it's actually a 2v1, unless Wololo does step in. Dizzy will dash out of the way of Vaki, trying to predict that goes the opposite direction instead. Safil covering the stay in place will not find the shot either. Of course, that means Dizzy will not have the damage to finish off Wololo this turn. Will finding a safe spot, as does Cranor. Their focus is on surviving for now.
Yeah, he opts for that second wind and using the full move that's now available to it. Dizzy does have his grenade available. We've seen Safil Rocky in both games using Castaway to target his bubble over walls. You know, with the takeaway of double bubble, we're seeing a bit of a mix, and now that's got to be their target, though. They know they have actually line of sight on Wolo. They know he's there, they know he's low, and that's who they want to focus next.
So they wisely throw the bubble here, assuming Dizzy will throw the grenade over, or assuming that would be the worst case scenario. Legion's actually going to dash in as well, negating a lot of that bubble. Dizzy flashes out of this one. Dizzy will not be throwing anything. He's just trying to survive until Core can get over to him with Legion at higher health. These grenades do find him, though. They predicted that dash and cut off some vision, so Legion will not know exactly where Wololol is.
Yeah, we can't see in Spectator because it doesn't take into account that mode, but they do know where he is. Kochi actually can just see him, so they have a perfect idea. That new spawn system working to their advantage. Safil sitting on his heel. Can it be enough to keep him alive here? Well, Avaki really not doing the damage he needs to. I mean, Wolo actually at only 176 damage. Trash needs to. They do have the kill, but they need to start focusing on getting another one before time runs out and Fun can pick up one of these low health targets.
Yeah, they're being super evasive, but I don't know if it can last for as long as. Legion will throw the dagger on Wooly, so they'll know exactly where they are and pop it for damage. Cranor is going to dive in on Dizzy. You have to think this is Dizzy's final turn. Finally out of escapes. Wololo will trade some damage with Legion, but Cranor, again after the dash with the ultimate on Dizzy. Kochi taking the shot on Wololo, popping the dagger immediately with Dizzy together. That's going to be enough damage to completely take down Wololo. They were not able to find the damage they needed on Dizzy, although again with no escapes, you have to think that it's going to be 2-1.
Nepti's so far away. This is pretty much dead to rights on Dizzy. I don't see him surviving in any way, shape, or form. Kochi now finds himself in a nice position to finish off Wolo, but now in a bit of a pickle. They have an accurate last known, and with Gray sitting there, he's going to be revealed for a long time to come. We see a lot of ultimates still being held at turn 16, which is pretty surprising in matches like this.
Avaki is going to weaken Kochi, hoping that he uses his ultimate or that it will be negated. Cranor is going to dash directly over Dizzy, finishing off that damage together with the poison clouds that they did throw out. Blackburn, of course, goes down. Avaki taking the shot on Kochi. Kochi returning the favor with basic attacks. A swing and a miss from Legion, and Safil's going to try and keep Legion out of the fight. As they get the pullback on Legion, will not find a Nefty that time, but will make sure that Legion so far back that they have to dash if they want to fight anybody this time.
Yeah, I really like that. Just keeping him in place, not trying to throw him anywhere in particular. Allow them to regroup. They want... Safil doesn't have his heal or bubble for 2 turns, so they want to keep Avaki safe for the time being before they can start supporting him again. And Kochi revealed over there, they don't have a shot on him, but he is sitting in that Celeste trap, so he's going to be taking some surprise damage in this coming turn. Why is he invisible?
Invisible, looking to maybe run in just for that haste. We'll see the drone dealing damage to him as well. And the trap taking so much surprise damage. They didn't think they were taking this turn. Trying to take the shot. The haste does reposition them, even though they were revealed, and now the stealth will hide them for this turn. But they're direct line of sight from Wololol, and that advancement may turn out to hurt.
Yeah, they know he's technically invisible. They know exactly where he is, though, and we're still sitting at turn 18. Kochi holding his ult. Avaki sitting on his second one. And surprisingly low energy from the rest of the crew around the map, but Avaki seems to be who they're trying to chase down.
They just don't have the line of sight they need there. Kochi will try and dashes out of here. Wolol electing for the straight up damage instead. Gonna try and focus down Kochi. Avaki's going to try and root a Nepti, possibly predicting Kochi going that way as well. Sophia will not find anybody with a spray. That trap does hit Wololo, but Kochi going dangerous low as he runs directly into Rio's.
That's what you want with the
pain.
new Rio. He goes into it, not running out. There's no holes being made, so he's stuck there. He does still have that ultimate, but they know exactly where they're ready to pour that damage in. It might be the time to use it because he's likely to die this turn. He should try and get the damage swing around because there's no way he's going to be using it after this.
Yeah, it's just not going to go long enough. I don't know if they can heal him up enough to keep him around. Mike coming out from Dizzy. They're going to try and find a kill this turn. Sophia using the healing, just saying, we're ahead. If nobody dies, we win. They're going to keep the status quo as Legion dives directly into the back line, doing minor damage and the slow to Sophia. They have the smoke out to deal a little extra to Kochi. They miss with the ultimate. They were trying to find Avaki, but they just weren't able to find it with that Kochi ultimate. That survives and runs away from this one.
Yeah, definitely a Hail Mary sort of move coming from Fun there. They just trying to find a kill. Now you see Wool sitting on his second ult at turn 20, and Kochi's dead. And elsewhere on the map, Fun needs to find 2 kills in this one turn somehow to push into overtime. And we're still seeing Sophia sitting on his bubble and Catalyst. You know, Avaki keeps his Rage. Craner is, you know, a Rask, so it doesn't look like it's going to happen.
An empty trying to pump out as much healing as possible, but not in range to heal Kochi. They're trying to do everything they can this turn as Legion
Yet.
It's going to use up
does
those taunts.
every taunt available to him. He's going to throw out that dagger and weaken Sophia. Of course, Sophia just dashing away to make sure that they survive. Kochi trying to take the shot in the last Hail Mary. Dizzy manages to find the dash, but 3 health left, and it won't matter because Wololo's going to find the kill on Kochi anyways. So close to taking out that Avaki. Cranor sealing the deal for this one.
I mean, so close to taking out the Avaki, but that wouldn't have changed anything. With Trash taking a 3-1 victory. Not exactly a super decisive win. It did look a little back and forth there, but they managed to pull it out. They found the targets they needed to find. And, I mean, I think going to this, I'm looking towards perhaps Craner for the MVP.
Craner did an excellent job following the enemy team. I think I might have to give it, though, for myself, Sophia did an excellent job behind the scenes, and I think that was the real story on this time. You notice there was somewhat low damage early in mid-game for Key and Wololo. Cranor managed to apply pressure as Cranor does and managed to stay alive. Definitely a strong case for MVP. But Sophia was always in the right position at the right time with the right skills to keep their team up. And you saw early Wololo go so low. Sophia was able to keep them up so that they were able to survive the 1v1 and kite Legion for so many turns. At the end of the game, Sophia just healing back up Avahi so they couldn't find that last kill. Just constantly being in the right place at the right time. I think Sophia was the hidden MVP of this match for me.
Yeah, but now we're going to be looking at getting someone in. I can agree with that. You know, Sophia, the healer, really, I mean, it did come down to people surviving with barely any health when they really needed to, and that's the healer's fault. So I say fault.
Right,
that's tribute to Sophia.
We've got a tough choice to make. We've got an interview coming up, and who do we want? Fun here? Or do we want a member of Trash to talk about the defeat or the win? I think that's got to be the story. I think we might have to go with Fun. They're in control of their own destiny here. And they've got to feel good after that. So let's see if we can. I'll try and get a member of Team Fun in here for our post-game interview.
So that does go a split, 1-for-1. Trash, you know, as we mentioned, secured in the tournament, secured first or second seed, regardless. So, I mean, despite taking their first loss with the DC, they are very much in the lead, very much still the favorites going into the championship tournament. But I was impressed by Fun's performance in Game 1 where they won, but even more in Game 2. I mean, against the full stack Trash, they had them on their back footing for quite a while on their favorite map as well.
Okay, we're going to pull in an FC, who I believe is team captain, an FC, pumping out that healing with Quark. An FC, welcome, great job, and thank you for interviewing with us.
Well, thanks to you for having me.
Yeah.
I do disagree on the great job, though. That's sad.
Well, you guys, even though it was, obviously the qualifying factor that there was a bot in there, you guys had such a strong look game 1, and even game 2, a pretty strong performance.
Yeah, we
but
tried.
the first one with the qualifier, how does it feel to take game versus trash, and how does it feel to take the game versus trash with that asterisk next to it?
As far as I am concerned, we didn't take a game to trash yet. It was a bot, so it's not really a real. It's not a real game. On the second game, I think we did good. Maybe I should not have picked Nyx. They are way too good at predicting where he moves, even when he's invisible. But it feel pretty good. We are getting there slowly, but we are getting there.
Yeah, so I mean, you picked him both even when other support's available. What about Quark makes you want him over other choices? Is it the same thing with Titus? He's just someone you like playing?
It's several factors actually. I think other teams maybe don't value him enough. But as I watch Sephil's games a lot, and I'm like, Quark is very strong. Why don't we pick him? So we picked him. And then I also wanted to be cheeky and lower Sephil's healing on the chart. So
Definitely a good character to do that on. Now let's talk about too. You guys were able to kite Rask much better early on in game 1, and game 2, Legion got kited out himself. How does something like that happen? So just to recap, game 1, you kept Rask out of position several turns and only able to chase your Nyx, which you were able to keep alive with healing and smart movement. Game 2, instead that happened to you, you had Legion off in the middle of nowhere, was able to stay in the middle of your line. What caused the difference between those two games, that such a shift in the balance of frontliners?
I think we were going into game 2 a bit less focused than we were in game 1. That's once, because of everything that happened in game 1. And also because, well, Cloudspire is our map. We feel like it's tough. We know it, we like it, and it's easier for us to do that on Cloudspire. I think those are the two reasons.
All right. Well, it seemed to work well for you game 1, less so game 2. Again, that Quark pick very well. So both games, you guys seem to have a pretty solid lineup you're going for. Is that a general lineup that you guys love regardless? Was that specific to Trash? Or were those basically what you like on those maps?
It's a bit of both. I don't think I'd have picked Quark first against any other one at Trash. But we know that they love him. And we wanted Sephil on someone I would not say bad at, but not as godly at. And we like the others pretty much. They are kind of comfort picks for us. Blackburn is someone that is not picked as much by the other teams, but Meg likes Dizzy likes him, so yeah, we picked that. The others are pretty much comfort picks too. Titus we love.
Yeah.
Same for Nyx, so yeah.
So now you're sitting.
We would have picked Zuki over Blackburn if Safnia was playing, but we are playing.
Yeah. So now you're sitting. You were at the 6th seed. You've got to win it today. How are you feeling about your chances making it into the championship tournament, and how do you feel about perhaps being in that? You know, is that something that you're fully ready to do? Is something you're nervous about, or are you just ready to take on the best of the best and fight for that prize money?
A bit of everything, I'd say. From half the season, we were really considering going into the tournament. We felt like we needed experience and playing together, but we felt like we could do that. And we feel a bit stressed out because it's our first season and first tournament, obviously.
Well, for our first season, it's been very impressive.
Yeah, we're looking for great things coming forward. So, as mentioned, this is Team Fun. We're talking to Inepsi here, and they have just secured one of basically the 2 wins they need to almost guarantee a spot in this final tournament. Excellent Play had led them to come in today with 17 points, and I believe I think 18 9 might get you guys a tie. 19 would definitely secure it. So you guys, how do you feel coming up versus you'll be seen versus Cookie Cutters later today? How do you feel about that matchup?
We prepared for that a lot because we didn't feel like we could beat Trash. So we were like, we need 2-0 against Cookie Cutters to get that tournament spot. So yeah.
Right. Anything special you can share with us that we can look for coming up in that matchup, or you want it all to be a surprise?
I don't know. It's just watching their games, trying to analyze how they play. Yeah, nothing I could really share without blowing it up too much.
All right. Well, we'll be
That's
looking
pretty
forward to
fair.
that match. Again, that comes forward later today. That'll be our third matchup of today. This was matchup number 1, Fun versus Trash, in a split 1 game apiece. And anything else
Yeah.
you would like to say to the viewers at home, Inepti, before we let you go?
I would say that we would have played that match again, the first one, if we could have. I mean, we would even do it now if we could, but we feel really bad that the bot was there.
Well, you'll definitely have a chance in 2 weeks if you keep winning
Yeah.
the way you guys have been.
Yeah. We'll try that then. And other than that, I wanted to thank Zafnir because he's our sub. He's playing with us a lot, and he really deserves to be seen too, and to have shout-outs from time to time. Other than that, thanks to you guys, because the whole thing wouldn't be possible without you. So it's yeah, thanks to you too.
All right. Well,
Well, we appreciate that. Thank you.
always fun having you.
Thank you. See you.
See ya. All right. So that was Inepti from Fun, the team captain.